since this is the first time that I received a comment from a foreign viewer to make a review. And this is the first time that I have to make a review or my reactions about The Lady of Heaven. So, primera vez para dar una crítica e revisión en la película La Señora del Cielo. So, dispensa mi usted, mi amigo, porque además de no puede hablar español perfecto, a todos muy complicados. Yo estudio español en la que leí por 3 años, pero no, realmente mi gramática es un lujo bueno. Y especialmente en todas cosas, la crítica, revisión, la literatura en película. So this is very complicated since I have to deal with another request from a viewer, a Spanish-speaking viewer, and I did not practice for this, and I have no time to review like it was instant, as this is recorded in real time, which I have to upload later in the evening. And of course, this is my greatest challenge, but I was really very thankful to that viewer that requested yesterday upon probably upon viewing one of my uploads in the video that is all about the case, the abandoned case of the angelic power. So, en Pilipinas, el más conocido en los pueblos y en la religión católico romano es el cristianismo. Porque Pilipinas abajo el gobierno español por 333 años. Pero toda la legacía, primera legacía, la madre España para Filipinas es religión, cristianismo. Buenos días o buenas tardes a todos los pueblos en el mundo. I was very thankful, celoso agradezco a todos para permitirme una crítica o revisión a todas cosas en la película Nuestra Señora del Cielo. So I would like to thank the one who comments yesterday when I uploaded my video about the abandoned MB angelic power, and one of the foreign viewer requested me if I could make a review or reactions to I don't know if it's a movie, but he just told me to make a review or my reactions about The Lady of Heaven. I was thinking that, I thought that it was another case of an abandoned ship named The Lady of Heaven. But the film, the movie thriller is The Lady of Heaven. I thought was the greatest achievement probably we can watch this year. The message, the powerful message, give us a new perspective of the role of religion in gaining the long time dream of a lot of people of peace around the world. El más conocido en los pueblos, el sueño para a todos pueblos en el mundo es la paz. La paz para combatir la fe, para la valencia de a todos combatimos. Nosotros combatimos a todas cosas en la vida y entonces se debe ser condenado perpetuamente, no se etiquetó su alma para salvar, no solamente para usar en una religión. So, il cielo, la Señora del cielo, did it for 3 years, but you need to have, to be exposed to a lot of experience in dealing with Spanish speaking people. But that will not be a hindrance for me to convey my message of thanks dentro de Dios, Dios te bendiga. Actualmente, usted moviendo en, el, Señora del Cielo en cada día, en toda la vida. Ustedes nosotros somos combativos a todos problemas, experiencia en el mundo. Y entonces es muy difícil para mí, para ti. Pero me agregadores de señores y señora, gracias de Dios para intervenir en la discusión en un tópico muy crítico para leer y para aprender en otros días o en días pasados antes y recordar el vivo en un vídeo para todos pueblos o mis amigos o amigas suscribir en mi canal. Equivalent neutrality theory that was being practiced based on the religious the freedom of expression or the freedom of expression of religion, something enough to be practiced since religion is not but
Hostile.
benevolent, that is free from any legislation discrimination that will be made in the future. So the lady in heaven, if I have to summarize my reaction, is it will going to send a cinematic message to all viewers that the greatest thing to do in this world is to spread peace. It is hard to achieve, but with our faith, we have the courage. That is why in the movie Thriller, it was said that stand up. Use your faith to stand up and fight for what is right. Thus, the generally accepted principles adhered by some people with their heroic deeds in the past and in the present. So, if we have to translate this in the manifestation of our courage to stand up with our faith, then we could achieve peace. Since the message, the powerful message of this movie, if it will be shown this year, give us a new world, a new perspective to look up, to inspire us, and not actually to influence our thoughts or our insights or our perceptions or our beliefs in that case, but give us an inspiration regardless of whether we are Catholics or religion or Islam or Hindu or Jewish. Since according to the useful charts, the oldest religion, Hinduism and Judaism, there were great similarities, like as mentioned, like Abraham, and the Hinduism like Brahma, like a Hindu god, and the wife of Abraham, Sarah, Saraswati, sorry. So there is the consonanted similarity of these biblical characters that we have to consider in one way or another. And based on the world's three greatest religion, like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. In fact, I was really surprised yesterday evening when I received a request from one of my foreign viewers that to make reactions about the Lady of Heaven, and it's just a movie thriller. Then I don't see the movie yet. I think it's supposed to be released this year, and one thing sure, I have to reserve time for it, and I have to watch the whole movie, since I will only be reacting to the movie thriller, which only lasts for around 4 minutes, I think, and the cinematic excellence. I think it's not a cheap movie. The production, I think, was just very authentic, and it is comparable to a big budgeted movie. And at first, I thought that the Lady of Heaven has something to do with Our Lady of Fatima, since these are both have some religious basis. But I have to make my reactions and review in my own personal perspective, not in the religious aspects or perspective, but rather a combination of my personal and academic perspective. And of course, as you can see, the opening of the movie thriller is like giving us a message that to stand up and to be courageous enough to stand up for what is right, that in discussing and dealing with this critical topic, I tell you frankly that only three topics in the world which I really don't mix up in dealing with, since they are not parallel to each other. What I mean is that the parallelism between the two issues must be considerable enough, like in order for us to comprehend based on our insight and presumptions. And the perception to this is that if we have to compare this in the law of magnetism, like poles repel and unlike poles attract, the end never meets the beginning, the alpha and omega. You could see that if it is positive and negative to the other one, the other magnet, and it's positive and negative also, if you just attach it to each other, like the positive and the negative, of course they will attract. Unless you're going to convert or invert it, then the attraction is there also. But when two things are parallel to each other, there is the possibility that they can merge with each other. But going back to the religious aspects, only the three things, the most critical things that this very complicated and conflicting issues arises are the topics about religion, science, and politics. They could never arrive in a certain point wherein with finality that we have to discuss or learn. Es muy difícil para los pueblos entendemos, pero nosotros somos aprendemos a todas literatura, ver todas películas para aprender, para leer, y entonces dar a toda saber en nosotros cabezas para entender una issues, cosa en religión, ciencia y historia y política. So I think the best thing that we have to do is we have to dissect this in some sections, and based on the biblical the genealogy of Abraham, the Quran and the Bible are similar to each other, are parallel. because there are some religious or biblical characters that are being mentioned also in the Quran. And in the Quran, there are 25 prophets, as they mentioned. Specifically, the last prophet is Muhammad, which is they call the prophet Muhammad in Islam as the prophet that the final seal prophet, since he received directly from God the communication of what was written in Quran. And the similarities, of course, our brother Muslims also believe on the biblical stories about the Abrahamic religion, like Abraham is the father of religion, since it started to dissect only in other sectors. But the biblical stories, remember that we have to consider also the parts like the history, the legendary and mythology are also different from facts laid out by science. That is why my reaction is that you cannot merge these things together and you're going to arrive in a very complicated situation. So they all started the same, but with different, as it goes along, then there are different interpretations, of course, and stories. But if you have to sum it up, the parallel things between the comparison between the Christian and the Islamic religion are almost the same. Of course, there are different dogmas or generally accepted principles based on the beliefs and ethics of religion, but we cannot presume this as the threshold or the final frontier in crossing these boundaries without experiencing a lot of arguments from other people, and we will be questioned, and the philosophical ideas that lies far more behind some certain issues are much more complicated and harder to deal with. So that is why my reaction to the movie thriller The Lady of Heaven, despite of its cinematic excellence as a thriller, and the message, I suppose, is about faith and peace. That as long the general message, in my own presumption, in my own belief, in my own perception, is that the cinematic message which the movie will be giving us is about faith and peace, incorporating with the biblical history or stories based on the Islamic foundations, since the characters are generally characters from the Quran, like Fatima. Fatima is one of the four daughters of Muhammad, and she was married to the first cousin of Muhammad. So her legacy was about her faith and her courage to fight against the tyrants, to fight in the movie thriller. It was said that our world is a breeding ground of dirty things, a lot of things that is immoral, not morally accepted. But you know, when we speak about morality, it's the good and bad in our character. So based on the movie trailer, they said that our world is a breeding ground. I think it is right. And continuous war and conflicts between nations and people does not unify us in one place. So they said that the greatest thing for us to do is to spread peace around the world. But that is not easy as being said, since a lot of people are in conflict with each other, not only in conflict with religion, but also in politics. That is why I said three issues are politics, science, and religion are not parallel to each other. They could never be merged. in my own opinion. Even in the Philippines, we have the in our 1987 Constitution the separations of the church and the state that is in Article 2, the Declaration of Principles and State Policies, that is Section 6, that the separation of the church and the state is inviolable. That means although we have the freedom of religion, it must not be affected by any legislation to discriminate the practice of religion, but due um, to the theory of the benevolent neutrality, sorry, may konting difference, neutrality of our approach to that freedom, sometimes it's been tolerated despite of the provision of the separation of the church and the state. Going back to the review of the film, it's not a film actually, it's a movie thriller. It's around 4 minutes only. And you see, the message of the film is, of the movie thriller is about peace and faith. And it's just like the historical heroic deeds of Gabriela Silang of the Philippines, who stood up against the tyrants, and Joan of Arc, I think, in France, and some greatest women in history. The relation of faith and peace is achievable. Like religion is an instrument of faith. Let us not confuse this. This is my own opinion. Religion is, for me, is an instrument of faith, likewise with the church as a place of worship, wherein the manifestation of your faith through your religion, you are free to manifest it accordingly on the church's dogmatic practices. And that is why in to fight. These are heroic deeds, and our communication to our Creator, our Almighty God, does not manifest us, does not give us the manifestation to cross the threshold of, or the bottom line of what's in religion. So the thin red line that separates religion, politics, and science must be considered. So the film is an inspiration with its cinematic glory of a message being sent to the viewers, like you must have the faith in order to have a confidence to stand up. So, el valor, confianza, todos sencillo las cosas para combatir, es muy difícil problemas experiencia en el mundo es para la fe y la paz, en el mensaje o una mejor mensaje en la película en Nuestra Señora el Cielo, el cielo. Not because in Spanish the gender, the feminine and the masculine agreement is sometimes complicated and confusing. So that's the main message of. And one more thing with the message of the movie three, our world is a breeding ground of all forms of evil. And the one who destroy the truth are considered is taken by Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad. So that means she said that with faith you can stand up. With faith you can have courage to stand up for what is right. And peace is the greatest thing that we have to spread in this world. And that the truth must always prevail, and those who destroy the truth are evil. So the three important messages which the cinematic experience upon watching this movie that will be shown this year are, it gives us the message of faith and hope. With faith, without faith, then it's hopeless. Without hope, then you have no faith. Faith and peace and truth. This truth as an excuse to do things not morally acceptable to the society. Faith sometimes is confused to your sincerity and loyalty to practice your religion. But as I've said, in my own opinion, religion for me is an instrument of our faith. Likewise, with the church as the instrument or a place in the manifestation of our faith, wherein we can communicate in our own ways with God, our Creator. So the movie Lady of Heaven probably is a movie which I'm going to recommend for everybody to watch. You have to give time or save your money if you really want to experience that a unique feeling of being inspired by a 1,400 years inspiration according to the Quran and Islamic point of views on their accepted principles or dogmas of their religion. We have to set aside religious basis or our religious beliefs or affiliation in order to appreciate this movie. Because the only message that this movie would like to relate and convey to us viewers are we must have faith in order to spread the truth to gain peace. So peace, truth, and faith are the vital things essential or vital and essential for us to gain world peace. The unification of a lot of factors that affects the condition and situation in different parts of the world are a little bit unacceptable and complicated in some point of views when we have to deal it on the political and religious basis, let alone science do its part. But this movie is trying, the present situation, since in the movie trailer it said that our world is a breeding ground of evil and dirty things. So in order to have a peaceful world, we must not be evil enough to destroy the truth. We must gain enough courage to have faith in standing up for what is right. That's the main message of the movie, The Lady of Heaven. So, for my Spanish viewer who said if I could make a reaction in Spanish, I think you can have, you can understand also a little bit of English. But I will try my best next time to convey my message in Spanish. En otra vez, para mí es muy difícil para dar a todos reacciones o la revisión y la crítica en una película, La Señora del Cielo, porque la base de la religión y la política, la ciencia es muy complicado. Y entonces ustedes permitivos en las soluciones, pero en la simple en mi camino contra de la todos dedicaciones para aprender o a tus sueños y las ambiciones para crear un mundo para la paz, la fe, el mismo. Entiende para tus pueblos vivir en el mundo la paz y el amor, el valor a todos existe. According to Catherine the Great, power without the nation's confidence is nothing. And then according also to Sojourner Truth, an African American, greatest women in history also, that the truth is powerful and it must prevail.